You are a patron of Help Refugees UK. Also, you have a very famous grandfather, of course, Charlie Chaplin. You're
big advocate of humanity he was as well.
Yeah,
wasn't
so
he?
here's the thing, we spoke to you earlier, and you put up a very good, analysis of what is going on in Calais. We've now had the reaction from viewers to our interview with you earlier, and I've got to say a lot of people were quite negative, not because I think they're inhuman, but they are trying to wrestle with this bigger picture of actually how many people can we take into this country who are in the position of these poor people in Calais.
Well, I mean, Calais is compiled of 6,000 people, which is an amount that is pretty insignificant in the greater scheme of things. I mean, 6,000 people would not make that much of a difference to the population of this country. I understand that we cannot take in all of the refugees from all over the world, and I understand that. But that does not mean that we allow people to die from the cold 21 miles away. And I think that's what's more important here, particularly when it comes to children. There are unaccompanied minors who have nuclear family in this country. I mean, that for me is beyond, like, you're a mother, Susanna. Do you have children?
Yeah, I do. You
understand that if these kids are in the like frosted mud today, waking up in -2 degrees in a tent, that sort of transcends the sort of general asylum kind of law, surely.
And what about the people who say nobody's going to be heartless enough not to feel for those children?
Yeah.
But they're in France. Why do they not claim asylum in France?
Because those children have nuclear family here. They've travelled sometimes 11 countries to come into safety to their aunt and uncle's house. It's not just about being in Britain, it's about being with the people that they know and they love.
But if it was just, here's the problem with it. And I totally empathise with all you're saying, and I know you've been there and you obviously care very passionately about it. The problem is it's not just 6,000 people at this camp in Calais, which has become quite infamous and which clearly had to be sorted in some way. It is about the millions of people currently moving across Europe, many hundreds of thousands of whom are very similar to these poor people in Calais. And it's a question of where are they going to go? And there's a massive political issue. I mean, the ideal, presumably, you said this earlier, is that they can go home.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is it's not about where do we put these people, where do we put these numbers, because that's not the question that needs to be answered here. Is how do we talk with these people that have a common enemy with us? A lot of them, like as I said before, I spoke to many people, Kurdish people, Afghan people, that collaborated with the British Army, that collaborated with the Allied forces against the people that we call terrorists, defending the values that we uphold as a society. These people are our friends, and like we need to discuss with them, enter into a conversation to see how we can progress to actually solve the situation. Like, this isn't a unilateral conversation. We cannot impose upon them conditions that we wouldn't accept as a society, and then expect them not to, and then expect them to just go away. Like, we have to enter into a conversation and exercise compassion, which is, I think, one of the great British values that has always been the case.
I completely concur with that.